What's going on, everybody?
Hey, we here.
We sure are. It's been about a week. We're recording this a week from the day that the accident happened where Kobe and 8 others passed away. And we live in LA, so we just kind of both are hit hard by. I think I'm a bit more of an NBA fan than you, and but I mean either way, he's just such a cultural figure, and what do you like some of your memories of him growing up?
I mean, obviously, like as soon as he came to the league, he was the big deal, and like him and his time with like Shaq and those years were. I mean, even though I wasn't like super into the NBA at that time, I was like, that's like one of the best teams of all time.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even realize like how ingrained Kobe was in our culture until after he passed, and then like, you find yourself like shooting like a sock or something, or like doing something into a basket, a piece of garbage in a basket, and you find yourself wanting to go Kobe.
It became part of the like lexicon.
Yeah. And so like, and even then, and then you find yourself being like, pulling back on it now. Like you don't even realize how like second nature like he was in the culture in that way. So iconic in that way.
Well, I mean, we were at a party just the other night and playing some beer pong, and I did the Kobe because I thought, like, I don't want to pull back because it's not disrespectful.
No, it's a celebration of him.
That that's one of the other things he just gave us. And, like, I've been a huge basketball fan all my life. And so I remember watching those Lakers teams. At the time, I really wanted Sacramento to win because I just felt like they were the underdogs. This was, like, the 2001 Western Conference Finals. And just Kobe was so freaking good. And I remember it was, like, Game 7, and I went outside to play basketball, so I'm like, they're just going to win. I don't want to watch the Kings lose because I just know the Lakers are going to win. But it's not just that, man. It's like the guy just had such a legendary work ethic. I mean, I remember hearing stories about, I can't remember who it was, but some basketball player asked him, like, hey, can I come work out with you? And he's like, yeah, cool, I'll see you at 3 a.m. He's like, wait, what do you mean? Well, 3 a.m., that's when we get to the gym. And we'll be done around, like, 10 p.m. at night. Yeah,
he wasn't just one of those, like, players that like play like he lived the game kind of thing. It was it when at that time when he retired and everything like that, it was like an end of an era kind of thing, and then this film kind of came out of that. His short film Dear Basketball, which we're going to be doing a little review of today, was an actual letter that he wrote to the Players Tribune the year he retired, and then they took that and they made it into this like animated short film, and I just read this scored by John Williams.
Oh wow!
Yeah, John Williams, the Star Wars, Raiders.
I mean, famous composer.
Yeah, one of the most famous
Jaws,
composers ever. So scored this. So I mean, it had a lot of awesomeness behind it for sure.
Yeah, and I just want to say something else about him in particular.
Sorry.
Actually, a couple more things. But one of the things that's so awesome about Kobe was, like, he made it no secret that he was going after Jordan. That he was like, I'm going to be better than Jordan. I'm going to take it to the next level, which is, when you look at a guy like LeBron, and I'm not trying to throw shade, but just two different guys there. LeBron always shied away from that. Like, I'm not going for it until I think like a couple years back, he finally said, I'm chasing the ghost of Michael Jordan. But, to see someone try to achieve that kind of greatness, because Jordan is, according to everyone, the greatest of all time.
Right.
To see someone acknowledge, like, that's what I'm going for, and to get so close.
In the conversations, arguably, I mean, he passed Jordan in a lot of records. He's the second highest scoring single game of all time.
Yeah, I mean,
so I mean, like, Kobe is not.
He's up there.
Yeah, he's in the conversation. I mean, it just depends on who you're talking to, really.
I think he's up there. I don't know if he's. I think it's MJ, LeBron, and like Kareem. But he's up there. But I mean, he's up there, and again, it's like this guy. You really saw it every time he played, just like how much effort he put into it, and the whole Mamba mentality, which has inspired like a generation. I mean, it felt like a just huge void the day it happened. It still does when we think about it.
Yeah, it feels weird that it's only been a week, because it feels like as soon as it happened, it's like been on the mind of everybody for. Especially, like you said, we live here in LA, so it's even more so kind of on the minds of a lot of people here.
Yeah.
He was a big part of the community here. He really was. And obviously, everybody else that passed in that the accident was
of course, yeah.
really horrible, really tragic accident, and the community is definitely was shaken by it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's part of it is because he was still so young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and it just felt like he had all this. I mean, this Dear Basketball won an Oscar. It seems like he had all this potential for a second life, basically.
Yeah.
One interesting story I heard about him throughout this week was he actually got into flying so he could spend more time with his daughters. His thought process
so he
was
could get from place to place quicker.
This way I can drive them to school in the morning, fly up for my workouts, fly back so I can pick them up from school. And his wife was like, no, just let me pick them up. And he said, no, you know, I have road trips in the NBA, so I want to spend as much time as I can with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, yeah, man, really tragic loss. And so we decided to do Dear Basketball because we just thought it, you know, in our own little way, it's how we can honor his memory and everyone else that was on the helicopter as well and all those affected by it. I mean, you know, our hearts go out to you.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into Dear Basketball.
Yeah.
Had you ever seen this before?
Yeah, I watched it the year it was in the Oscar race.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I watched that year. It was one of the years where I was like, I'm going to watch these short films because I felt like I watched a lot of the other movies and things like that, but I kind of skipped those a lot of the times.
Yeah,
those and I don't watch as many of the documentaries either. And so that year I was like, no, I'm going to watch these, you know, and I went through and I watched most of those short films that year, those animated shorts. And yeah, it was really great. I was very taken by the animation style and the having his voice narrating it and everything like that. And it was very interesting because it was so subtle. Like, he wasn't like going for anything like bombastic or histrionic. It was so subdued, but very powerful in that way. And I really liked it. And I was happy that it won that year. I did. I thought while a lot of the other films that year, animation wise, were a little bit more technical, a little bit more complicated. Animation wise, I felt more heart in this film than I did in any of those other films.
Yeah.
How about you, Justin? Had you watched it before now?
No, I never have. I just watched it today for the first time, and I actually just so happened to click on the link where apparently they played it at like some game last year where they were honoring him, and so I got to see a little bit of him just reacting to watching that in Staples Center on this night where they're honoring Kobe, and yeah, I was struck by just how much heart it has. It does seem so personal and so truthful. It's so funny because when you look back on Kobe's career as an NBA player, you don't see this sentimental, or even this maybe sounds bad. I don't mean it to, but you don't see this man who's supremely intelligent. It's just that guy wants to tear your head off.
He's a beast
every time he's on the court.
He was an animal on the court.
You view him as just this assassin, this killer,
this black mamba, this snake in the this snake in the grass that's ready to strike.
Absolutely.
Kind of thing.
But he's so intelligent, and I mean the guy spoke 7 languages, I believe. And,
yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, and really just a thoughtful and introspective human being, and I think it really all shines in this film. And I really love the moments right towards the end of it where Kobe, as an adult, is going up for, I believe it's a layup or a shot, and then his younger self is doing it with like the socks, and it's really interesting. It did make me think too, like what an interesting experience that would be to at such a young age know, like, yep, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a basketball player. And
not even that, like he wanted to be on the Lakers.
Yeah.
As a kid,
watching those Lakers tapes,
and he made it to the Lakers, and then stayed his whole career. Didn't play for a single other team.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's...
He did... There was a period where he was talking about walking away and going to another team because it was right after Shaq had left and they just were not really getting him help. I think he said something along the lines of, I'd rather like play on fucking Pluto or something. And he almost demanded a trade, I believe, to the Clippers. Or maybe it was he almost left for free agency. And I think it was Jerry West who stopped him and just said, don't do it. We're going to get you help. Stick around. And sure enough,
Yeah. It was really interesting because, I mean, even, like, some things I've seen online have been really interesting about, like, some people, Kobe, while was, like, a very huge figure in basketball and a lot of people did love him, some people did not like him. You know, like for
Yeah.
his checkered past and his personal life and things like that.
Yeah.
So like when he passed away, I mean, I saw some things online and I was like, this is not the time to voice that kind of stuff. And I get it, I understand, but like, I mean, he meant a lot to a lot of people, kind of thing, you know, and not to mention like, it was a pretty horrific way that it all kind of went down.
Yeah, it was so fast, man.
It was so fast.
It was pretty close to us too.
Yeah, I know it was just up in Calabasas, not far from our apartment.
Yeah. I mean, I have a whole like, I always wonder about that philosophically in terms of how do we speak of those that have passed, and so I'd rather not get into it.
No, it's fair.
It's probably not a popular opinion, but
that's fair.
Yeah, to me, it's just like, I don't know. I was just being such an NBA fan. It was he was just larger than life.
Right.
He was so.
He's a legend.
Great.
You
never wanted to play him. You was always, when your team was playing him, you were just like, oh gosh, here we go.
If there was gonna be a Mount Rushmore of basketball, he's one of the 5 faces. You know what I mean?
Well, they only have 4 on Mount Rushmore.
Well, we are adding 5.
Okay. I don't want to get into that debate.
But no, I get it. My favorite lines in the short film is like kind of like in the beginning part when he's talking about he says, I never saw the end of the tunnel. I only saw myself running through it.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
And I think that's a great line. It's like all you see is like, as a kid when you're dreaming, is you doing it, but you don't ever see like the end of the road.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't envision that as a kid, like having to give it up kind of thing.
Well, I also loved his he says at one point, like, my mind could still do this.
My heart
still wants to do it, but my body is just telling me it's time to stop. And he had this season where, I don't know if these names will mean anything to you listeners, but he got this great center named Dwight Howard on his team. Pau Gasol still, and then he got an aging Steve Nash. So it seemed like this kind of, wow, look at all this talent. I mean, they're kind of old, but look at the talent. And they just did not do well. They were pretty like middle of the pack, like 500. And then like the last 2 weeks of the season, Kobe was just like, just give me the ball and I'm going to drop like 50 a night and get us in the playoffs. And he did. He just kept them in the games and winning. And then he played the Warriors and he tore his Achilles. And because he was playing way too hard, But like
that's his spirit. He
then walked to the free throw line with a torn Achilles and hit 2 free throw shots before limping to the back in the tunnel. So like, again, just this warrior spirit, man. There's something inspirational about it, and it was just so nice to see how much the game. It's so funny because it was so clear watching him play how much the game meant to him. Yeah. But seeing him put it into this form,
hearing it and coming from his voice, and the way he's talking to basketball, like it's a letter addressed to basketball. If you guys haven't watched it, I would definitely. It's on YouTube. It's all over the place. You can watch it for free and almost anywhere. Yeah. So it's only like 5 minutes, so it won't take much of your time if you haven't checked it out before. But he's addressing a letter to basketball as if basketball were a person, because basketball was the love of his life, is basically what he says. Yeah. And it really was a beautiful sentiment in it, and like, yeah, the whole I'll always be that kid in my room shooting socks into a waste bin. Which I think with 5 seconds left. To, exactly, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I get it. And that it doesn't even have to be basketball. Like, I think for people who have other ambitions, it's like, you get it. Like when you were a kid and you had this dream and you like acted it out and you fantasized about it.
I just meant even like, I feel like
we all get it about the basketball. I think we all
do it with lunch. Yeah. Right? Like I know I still do. I still do like
or like garbage. Yeah,
garbage. Yeah,
exactly,
paper.
Right? Yeah, all.
And then if you miss, you shout foul. It was a foul.
Yeah, technical. Yeah, no, I do agree. I think it's something that if you don't connect to it like specifically like word for word situation, you can it can also be felt in other ways too. Yeah. So honestly, it's surprisingly such a great short film. Like when I first saw it, I was shocked because I was like, "Oh, Kobe Bryant made a short film kind of thing." Like, okay, and then I watched it and I was like, "Oh wow, that's like really, really sweet." It's a really sweet little short film for sure.
So definitely go check it out.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
No, man. It was really hard. I watched it twice over the last week just for prep for this, and it's still hard to watch it. It really is. Like I want to watch it, but it does hit me in a different way now.
It's in me right now, man. Yeah, just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, just again to all the families that were affected by this, to those on the helicopter that perished, and then just to Kobe too. You know, thank you for being an inspiration. We out.
Bye.